This video is for finishing up our notes. We're going to use our 8B Graphing Practice 1. With this, here's the first answer. And you have the graph there and everything else. Question number 2, we found that our vertical asymptote is at x equals -2 due to the denominator. And what we're going to do is we're going to find our horizontal asymptote. By doing so, we're going to look at the exponents or the highest degree, highest exponents of the denominator and numerator. So when we are looking at this, we have the horizontal asymptote is going to be found by taking the highest degree of x divided by x would equal 1 over 1, which gives me the asymptote of y equals 1. Now, to graph this, I would do a vertical asymptote at x equals -2. And a horizontal asymptote at y equals 1. Now that I have that, I'm going to use my graphing calculator to find the rest of the points I need. I'm going to go to y equals, and I'm going to type in x minus 4 divided by x plus 2. And then I'm going to go graph. And as you can see, we're going to find some points. And to do so, I'm going to look at my table. As you can see, there's an error at -2, which means I have a horizontal asymptote there. And I'm just going to go find some points. So I see that I have a 4, 0. That's a y-intercept. To mirror that, I would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So over here, I would be mirroring across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And to find another point, I have 0, -2. And -1, -5. So to mirror that, I would be up and then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as well. And if I wanted to mirror this point, I would be up 3 over 1, so down 3 over 1. And that gives me points that I can draw through. These 2 points are my x-intercept and my y-intercept. I have no max or min. I stayed my asymptotes. Domain would be all real numbers. And range would be y is also not equal to 1, and all real numbers. Same with domain, all real numbers that cannot equal -2. The next question that I want to look at is going to be question number 4. So what I've already found is that I have, taken and factored everything. By doing that, I have seen that my vertical asymptotes are at x equals -2 and 1. I am checking that nothing cancels out. Same as before, I see that my degree is both x squared over x squared. The leading coefficients are 1. So I have a horizontal asymptote at y equals 1 because the leading coefficients is 1 divided by 1. So graphing those same items, I will graph at -2 and 1. And then my horizontal asymptote is at 1. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this into my calculator. I'm going to plug in my original. By doing this, I'm going to then hit graph. And what we can see is we have a graph here that shows us points. I have a y-intercept, I do have x-intercepts, and I need to find my values that I'm looking for. So what I'm going to start with is I'm going to start with this parabola up here. I'm going to find the min to it. So second calc, 3. I'm going to go to the left side of it, and then I'm going to go to the right side of it. And so you can see that I have a minimum at -0.5 and 2.7 repeating. I'm going to find my y-intercept. Second table, my y-intercept is at 0, 3. And then what I can see is I have another point mirrored with it. So I'm going to say 0.3 at -1, 3. And the reason why I'm saying 0.3 is because you need 5 points to graph this graph. So I'm going to graph these points here. So -0.5, 2.7, -0.3, -1.3. And I'm going to take this parabola and I'm going to graph it going up like this. Now I'm going to go look at for other values. And so what I see here is I have an x-intercept at 2, 0, which is an x-intercept. So which I do have to have. And then I see another one here at -3, 0. So I'm going to put that as 0.5, which is also another x-intercept. And those 5 points are going to create my curves. And so with this, I'm going to sketch. Domain runs the same as any other problem that we've had. My domain values are going to be all real numbers. And then my asymptotes cannot equal x. So I have -2, 1. Range is going to be a split range. So the first range I'm going to look at is not the parabola. I'm going to look at this half here, the values that are less than my asymptote. Y is less than 1. That accounts for my whole graph. And then I'm also going to look at my split range. My parabola starts at the y value of 2.7 repeating. So at y and 2.7 repeating, I'm getting bigger and I'm equal to. The next question we're going to look at on the back is we are going to look at question number 7. Doing the same thing as before. However, this one's a little bit different. My degree on the top is 0 because I have no x's up here. So I have a degree of 0 over a degree of 2. Since my degree on the bottom is bigger, my horizontal asymptote is going to be at y equals 0. Drawing in my vertical asymptotes. Horizontal. And I'm going to plug this original problem into my calculator. Get out of my light. There we go. 2 divided by parenthesis. Graph. So once again, I'm going to check my values, and I see that it looks like my asymptotes are good. Going to go second calc. I'm going to go calculate a maximum. Going to go to the left side. Going to go to the right side. And I'm going to plot down that point. So I have a maximum. 0.5, comma, 0.8 repeating. I'm going to go to my table. And I see at 0, I have a negative 1. So I have a y-intercept at 0, comma, negative 1. And then I have another point at 1, comma, negative 1. I'm going to plot these. But what I'm going to do before I do that is I'm going to write down my 3's and my negative 2 here for my other 2 points for my side parts of my graph. And so when I graph these, it's going to give me everything I need. This is a split range question again. So 0.5 and 0.8. I apologize, negative 0.8 because I missed my sign. So negative 0.8, I'm going to bring it down. And then I'm going to plot 0, negative 1. Mirror those. And then I'm going to come up and I'm going to graph at negative 2.5. 3.5. And then sketch the rest of my graph. Domain. Range is not all real numbers. I apologize. We have y is greater than 0 because that's the part that is above the graph. And then I have y is less than or equal to my value of my maximum of negative 0.8. Repeating. That's going to do it for this video. My next video will have a few other questions that have one of each type on your test, or to cover what is on the test.